Hello learners, and welcome to yet another very informative and useful session. I am Dr. Gitika S. Johri, faculty at School of Vocational Education and Training, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Learners, you all know we have been discussing the course on secretarial practice, which is also a part of the program on Diploma in Modern Office Practice. So learners, before beginning today's session, let's have a look at all the topics what we have covered so far. Till now learners, we have covered the topic on secretary. We have done communication, which was in two parts. Office correspondence we have finished. Reception and public relations we have done. Meetings again, which was in two parts, we have completed that. Report writing we have covered. Sources of information, which was in three parts, part 1, part 2 and part 2b, that also we have completed. Travel arrangements, again in our last two sessions we had covered it in part 1 and part 2. Today we are going to discuss about handling cash and bank transactions. So this means that we have reached the last unit or chapter of this book and also of the course. Now learners, we know that a secretary, as said, is the backbone of any organization who is responsible to do the office work like taking notes, typing or doing any kind of administrative work, organizing official meetings and events, arranging the travel of his or her boss, and handling cash and bank transactions. Now in today's session, we will be discussing the role of a secretary while dealing with all the activities which are related to bank and cash operations. We will also be discussing about the different kinds of bank accounts maintained by the individuals and the procedures which are related to deposit and withdrawal of money from the bank. So let's begin with the unit on handling cash and bank transactions. So learners, after you have completed this unit, you will be able to understand the concept of cash and bank accounts. You will be able to prepare the different type of cash books. You will be also able to prepare the petty cash book. We will also be telling you in this particular unit what are the different types of transactions that are to be recorded in the journals. You will be also be able to explain the importance of bank reconciliation and identify the types of errors which are committed in the process of accounting and their rectification. So let's begin with cash and bank accounts, giving you a brief introduction related to it. Learners, cash account and bank account are merely ledger accounts recording and posting transactions where only a journal proper is being maintained. In any organization or company where subsidiary books are maintained, transactions related to both cash and bank are recorded at the same place in the book called the cash book, and this is designed in the form of a ledger account. Now it has a debit side which records all the cash receipts and a credit side which records all the payments. Now recording in the cash book is done exactly in the same way as you are posting the journal entry into the ledger. So we can say it has a very peculiar and unusual thing of being both journal as well as a ledger. That is because both the recording as well as the posting aspect is complete if the transaction is entered in a cash book. If it would have been some other kind of an account, then in that case, first we have to post it into the, record the journal entry and then post it into the relevant ledger account. But being a cash book, both recording as well as the posting aspect is completed if the transaction is entered into the cash book. Now learners, let us try and understand what are the different types of cash books. So mainly there are two types of cash books which are maintained by the business. They have been categorized into two main categories. The first is general cash book and the second is petty cash book. The general cash book is further divided into single column cash book, double column cash book and triple column cash book. Here in this slide, we are showing you that how a cash book has been divided into two types, general cash book and petty cash book, and how the general cash book is further divided into a single column, double column and triple column cash books. We will be discussing each of these cash books in our next slide. Let's begin with single column cash book. Now a single column cash book is nothing but a cash account. It has only one amount column. Remember, only one amount column on each side. It is used to record all the cash receipts on the left side, which is the debit side, and the cash payments on the right side, which is the credit side. So remember, whenever we are recording, we have to record all the cash receipts on the left hand side, which is the debit side, and all the cash payments have to be recorded on the right side, which is the credit side. Here is a specimen of a single column cash book. You can see that there is a debit side on the left side and there is a credit side on the right side. There is a date, there are particulars related to the transactions which are going to happen on that particular date, and there is ledger folio, and then there is your amount which has to be recorded here. Now let us learn about what is double column cash book. The double column cash book has two columns of account amounts on each side where both cash and bank transactions are recorded. Both the cash account and the bank accounts are maintained together in the same book, which is called the cash book. Again, the debit side of the column represents all the receipts from the cash and bank, and the credit side of the column records all the payments. Here again we have tried to show you a specimen of a cash book which is in the double column cash book. Now learners, what is the triple column cash book? The triple column cash book has three separate amount columns, each on the debit side and credit side, for recording the cash, bank and discount related transactions. What are the different types of amounts columns which we are talking about? Firstly, there is going to be a cash account, there is going to be a bank account, there is going to be a discount received account which is called as DR, and there is going to be a discount allowed account which is also called as DA. So they are all maintained together in the same group. However, the discount received and discount allowed are not two sides of the same account, but they represent two different accounts. So therefore, they are never going to be balanced. Here learners, we have tried to show you a specimen of the cash book in the which is a triple column cash book. You have a debit side, you have a credit side, then you have the amount column, which there is a discount in that, there is cash, there is bank. Similarly, on the credit side again you have two columns of amounts, which is one on discount, one is on cash and one is on bank. Now all the receipts of cash or check are to be recorded on the debit side in the respective cash and bank columns. If any discount is allowed to a party on receipt of cash or check, it will be recorded on the debit side in the discount allowed column. Similarly, when we are talking about all the cash and check payments, they will be recorded on the credit side in the respective columns. But discount received, if any, at the time of making payments is to be recorded on the credit side in the discount received column. Now learners, there is a terminology which is called as contra entry. Now this contra entry, we have to know or learn it in respect of this cash book only. What is a contra entry? It is a term which is used in the case of double or triple column cash book, and it is represented by C in the ledger folio column. So what does the C represent? It appears when the transaction involves both the cash account and the bank account. Let's have a look at an example regarding this. Suppose when a cash is withdrawn from the bank, it is recorded on the debit side in the cash column and on the credit side in the bank column. Similarly, when cash is deposited with the bank, the amount is recorded on the debit side in the bank column and on the credit side in the cash column. In such a case, it will be represented by C because both cash as well as bank transactions are involved. Now learners, let us come to the next topic, which is on bank account. Now, as we have mentioned earlier, the bank account is of course maintained in the accounting books of the organization. The bank account can be referred to as a bank account, or it can be a bank column, it can be bank column of cash book, or it can be a cash book bank column. After having understood learners about the general kind of cash books, let us now understand what is the petty cash book. Learners, we know that in every business, whether it is a big business or it is a small business, there are a number of small and petty payments, such as, on account of postage, on account of stationery, on account of bus fare, taxi or auto fare. There is cartage, there is newspapers, there is casual labors. They can be, payments on account of some kind of TN, snacks. So, which are, have to be made on regular basis, and you can find them there, that they are very common and they are very repetitive in nature. So if these have to be recorded in the cash book on a daily basis, of course you can see it will become a very tiresome process, and the cash book will become overloaded with too many of such kind of small and petty transactions. Hence, to avoid this kind of very tiresome process, a senior staff member delegates a responsibility to a petty cashier, who is then entrusted with the task of making all such kind of payments. He further records them in a separate book, which is called as the petty cash book. The petty cash book is a formal summarization of the petty cash expenditures sorted by dates. So, if any transaction is or any expenditure is taking place today, for example, then we will record today's date, we will record what the expenditure has happened, and we will also record the folio number, the ledger folio number. So again, for the next particular day, maybe for the second day, again we will be mentioning the same kind of details. So it is sorted date wise. In most cases, the petty cash book is an actual ledger book, we can say, rather than a computer record. Thus, the book is part of a manual record keeping system. Now again, talking about petty cash book, it is maintained in 3 different ways. First is open system or ordinary system petty cash book. Second is a fixed system of petty cash book, and the third is the impress system of petty cash book. All these systems of maintaining petty cash book are in practice, but the most common is the impress system of petty cash book, where an advance is made to a certain person. And this system is most popular and helpful, wherein the cashier is given a certain or some specific amount called an impressed amount in the beginning of the month, or it can be in the beginning of a fortnight or even of a week. He makes a payment from that amount, records them in the petty cash book, and at the end of the month, he produces the payment vouchers to the senior staff, who then reimburses the amount to him. So like this, the cashier will again have the fixed amount in the beginning of the period, and the process continues like this. So learners, till now I think so we have very clearly discussed about what are the cash and bank accounts, what are the different kind of cash books which are maintained, and we have also discussed about petty cash book. Now let us come to the next topic, which is bank transactions. Now learners, what do we mean by bank transaction? By bank transaction, we mean all those transactions relating to the business which are considered for the purpose of accounting and which have their effect on the bank account. Now, let us understand bank transactions in the books of an organization. Now, in the books of an organization, the principles of debit and credit, they read as debit the benefit or receiver and credit the giver. Therefore, whenever we deposit cash or check into the bank account which represents the bank is debited. Why is it being debited? Being the receiver or the benefitor. But whenever we withdraw cash or issue checks from the bank account is credited. Why? Because bank being the giver. Now, in general, whenever some amount gets into our bank account, the bank account is always debited, and whenever some amount goes out of our account, the bank account is credited in the cash book. Now, learners, let us have a look at some of the instances when the bank account is being debited. First, when cash is paid into the bank. Second, when checks are received by the organization towards the amount it has to receive and deposited in the bank for collection. This is recorded on the date of the deposit in the bank. Then any kind of interest which is due and deposited by the bank to the organization on the bank account balance. Any kind of direct payments by the customers into the bank account. Amount which are collected by the bank on behalf of the customer, like the dividend on shares, interest on investments, rent on property. Sometimes they can be any kind of standing instructions. Then another is amount which is receivable towards a bill receivable honored on the due date when it is collected by the bank. And lastly, amount receivable on discounting bills by the bank. So learners, these are some of the instances where the bank account has been, we just said, debited. But when we're talking about the transactions which are happening at serial number 3, 4, 5 and 6, they will be recorded only when the information relating to the same has been received from the bank. Even when we are talking about the transaction which is happening at serial number 4, that is direct payment by the customers into the bank account, they may also be recorded only when the customer gives such kind of information. Now learners, let us have a look at some of the instances when the bank account is being credited. The first is cash withdrawn from the bank. Second is checks issued by the organization towards the amount it has to pay. This will be recorded on the date of issue of the check. Third is interest and any other charges which are collected by the bank towards the services it provides the organization, like any kind of collection of outstanding checks, etc. Then amounts which are paid by the bank on behalf of the customer being an organization, like any kind of rent, insurance premium. Now some of these may again be on account of standing instructions. The next is amount which is paid towards clearing a bill payable by a check or by the bank directly on the instructions to the bank. Then amount payable towards the dishonor of a bill discounted, and lastly checks dishonored by the issuer. Again learners, we want to tell you that all the transactions which are taking place at serial number 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, they will be recorded only when the information relating to the same is received from the bank. Now learners, let us have a look at the bank transactions in the books of the bank. Earlier we had discussed the bank transactions in the books of the organization. Now we are going to discuss about the bank transactions in the books of the bank. This is reflected in the bank statement or the passbook. Now learners, we know that the bank has its own books of accounts. In the accounting books of the bank, the organization account is a personal account, and therefore going by the principles of debit and credit for personal account, what is the principle? It says debit the receiver and credit the giver. So the bank debits whenever the organization, who is the customer to the bank account, withdraws amount from the bank, that is debit the receiver, and credits whenever the organization deposits any kind of amount in the bank, that means credit the giver. From the bank account holder's point of view, whenever some amount gets into the customer's account or the account holder's account, his or her or the customer's account is credited. And whenever some amount goes out of the customer's account or account holder's account, his or her or the customer's account is debited in the bank's book, which is reflected in the bank statement or the passbook issued by his or her bank for customer's records account. We must have generally seen, you must also be having some kind of passbook or statement of account. So it is very similar to that. Rather similar, no, it is that only. So it is not a very difficult thing which you really need to understand. If you see your passbook or your bank statement, similar kind of the similar kind of transactions of debit and credit are mentioned, or the principles of debit and credit are clearly the same if you just go through your passbook also. So the same instances when viewed from the banker side would result in a reversal of treatment as follows. So now let's have a look at the instances when the customer's account is being credited. What are the instances? When cash is paid into the bank, in that case the customer's account is being credited. Similarly, what are the other instances? When check is received by the organization towards the amount it has to receive and deposited in the bank for collection. This is recorded by the bank on the date of collection of the check. But if the check is not collected, no amount is credited to the customer's account. Then interest due and deposited by the bank to the organization on the bank account balances. Another case where the customer account is being credited is direct payments which are made by the customers into the bank account. Then amount collected by the bank on behalf of the customer, like dividend on shares, interest on any kind of investments, rent on property, etc. Again, some of these may be standing instructions. Then another instance is amount received towards a bill receivable honored on the due date when it is collected by the bank. And lastly, the amount receivable on discounting bills by the bank. So again, learners, all the transactions which are happening at serial number 3, 4, 5 and 6 will be recorded on the date of the transaction, that is on collection, and will be intimated by the bank to the customer. Now let's have a look at the instances when the customer's account is being debited. Firstly, it is debited when the cash is withdrawn from the bank. Second, cash or the checks which is issued by the organization towards the amount it has to pay. This will be recorded by the bank on the date on which the customer has presented it for payment, across the counter if it is a bearer check, or through a banker if it is an account pay check and payment has been made. Thirdly, interest and other charges collected by bank towards the service it provides the organization, like collection of outstation checks. Fourthly, amount paid by the bank on behalf of the customer. Who is the customer? The organization, like any kind of rent, insurance, premium, etc. Some of these again may be on account of standing instructions. Then the fifth is amount paid towards clearing a bill payable by a check or by the bank directly on instructions to the bank. And lastly, amount payable towards dishonor of a bill discounted. There are two more, learners. Checks dishonored by the issuer. This has no influence on the bank's passbook, since it has not been recorded when the check is deposited for collection. And any kind of loan, EMI, that is the equated monthly installment, or EFT, that is electronic funds transfer, is debited directly in banks for payment. So again, learners, all the transactions which we have seen at serial number 3, 4, 5 and 6, they will be recorded on the date of the transaction and they will be intimated to the customer. Now learners, let us have a comparative analysis of the recording in both the books. Now, other than what we have been discussing about debit and credit, let us try and analyze the recording of the transactions which we have just discussed with regard to the other aspects. Here we have just discussed the aspects of debit and credit, but let us now try and understand what are the try to analyze that what is with the recording of the transaction, what happens with regard to other aspects. The first aspect is cash paid into the bank. Now, the transaction results in amount being paid into the bank, that is the organization money is with the bank. Now, this transaction is recorded in the customer's cash book on the debit balance side and the bank's passbook on the credit balance on the same day. Therefore, after the transaction is complete, you can notice that the debit balance in the bank account in the cash book and the credit balance in the bank book's bank statement is the same. Second is checks issued. Now, it is a general practice, especially in case of personal account, that money can be withdrawn from the bank using a withdrawal form if the withdrawal form is accompanied by the passbook. Normally, when we go to the bank, but we want to take out some money and we do not have the check. In that case, we can, use the withdrawal form, and with the withdrawal form, it is necessary that we need to have our passbook. Let us assume that this is not done. Even the cash the business organization needs is withdrawn using a check. Therefore, we can say that the organization issues check either by withdrawing cash from the bank or to the customers of the business towards amount payable to them. This check remains valid, for 3 months from the date of its issuance unless specifically stated otherwise. And the check which has become invalid on account of becoming out of date is called a stale check. Because, if the 3 months have passed, then it become, a stale check. It will be of no use. Now learners, here we are going to discuss about what is a bearer check and what is an account pay check. Now, let us understand what is a bearer's check. Checks which are capable of being presented at the bank by individuals and payable by the bank across the counter are called bearer checks. Therefore, if an organization has issued a bearer check, it is capable of being presented and encashed immediately. Remember, presented and encashed immediately on the day it is issued by any processor of the check, irrespective of the name written on the check. And what is an account paid check? Checks which are payable only to a bank are account paid checks. Now, these checks are typically crossed with parallel lines on the top left edge of the instrument, clearly indicating they are the cross checks. They are not paid across the counter of the bank. They are to be presented to the bank through the banker of the person or organization who is mentioned as the payee of the check for collection. Thus, the date of the actual payment of the check by the bank would be further to the date of the issue of check by the organization. The third is checks deposited. As explained above, learners, we know that a bearer check can be collected across the counter of the account holder's bank, and cross check should be presented to the banker for collection. But when you deposit a check for collection, the banker would not credit, that is, they will not deposit the customer's account with the amount of the check. The banker records the checks sent for collection in a separate book, and this would credit the customer's account only if the check has been honored and collected by the payee's bank. If the check is dishonored, no credit would be made. Thus, the date of the actual receipt of the check and the date on which the amount has been credited by the bank in the organization's account in the bank would obviously be different. The date of credit would be further to the date of receipt of the check. Then is bank charges. The bank collects charges from the customers, maybe from us or whoever are the customers, from time to time for various reasons. And what are those reasons? Firstly, they charge us on account of issue of new checkbook. They can charge us on account of postal charges for sending a checkbook. Then any kind of collection charges for collecting outstation checks, any kind of commission or charges for collecting insurance claims, dividends, interest on securities, etc. Then transfer charges for transferring funds like NEFT or RTGS charges. Then there can be incidental charges which are related to some services which are provided by the bank to the customers. Then in case of bouncing of a check, when a check is bounced, then bank can levy overdraft fees or NSF fees. Then for ATM also the fees is charged by the banks. Some kind of account maintenance charges have to be paid to the bank, and then of course foreign transaction fees. So generally what happens, the bank debits the charges to the customer's account, and they would intimate to the customer of the same by sending some bank advice to its customers. Normally, when they are charging some kind of fees from us, then you will get a message from the bank that this amount has been deducted on account of this. Similarly, if some account has been credited, they will give us a message that this amount has been credited on account of this. So the customers will record the information on the day on which it is received. Therefore, learners, it is possible that the day on which the bank has debited these charges and the day on which the customer has recorded the same would obviously be different. So now, learners, to sum up this session today, we just want to recap what we have studied today or what are the topics which we have covered today. So learners, we have discussed about the cash and bank accounts. We have also learned about the different types of cash book, that is the general cash book, which again has single column cash book, double column cash book and triple column cash book. And we have also discussed about petty cash book, and we have also discussed how the different types of transactions are recorded in the journal. Now in our next session, learners, which will of course be a continuation of this session, we will cover bank reconciliation. We will discuss about the types of bank accounts, and we will also discuss the types of errors which are normally committed in the process of accounting and how they can be rectified. So I hope, learners, today's session has been useful to you, and you must have gained quite a lot of knowledge related to cash and bank. because otherwise also when we are doing any kind of transactions with the bank, we are visiting the bank for any kind of opening of accounts or any kind of all these things which we have just discussed, deposit or withdrawal, you are quite familiar with all these things. But as a secretary, the secretary should be apprised, they should be knowing about all these things related to the organization where they are working. Obviously everybody is maintaining their own personal accounts and they are very well versed, but from the perspective of a secretary, when you are working in any organization, from that perspective you also need to know some of the issues which we have highlighted or we have discussed today. In case you have any queries, you may please write to us on the following email ID, that is gitikajori@ignou.ac.in. Thank you, learners.